This demo shows how to make a small sample lantern that uses all three of the different types of joints, the I joint, the L joint, and the X joint. Supplies are gathered to make the wire frame, which is made first. This lantern begins with the base first, a circle. Pliers can be used to make the shape as desired. The I joint is used to connect the two ends of wire. Next, two arches are attached. First, an arch is made with two L bends at each end. It helps if the L bends match the curve of the circle, which can be done with pliers. The L joint is used to attach each side of the arch to the circle. This is repeated for the other side. The second arch is attached in the same way, and then the two arches are attached to each other with an X joint at the top. Next, a nub of any shape is added as detail on the outside of the lantern. In this case, the shape is a round bump. The shape is made with two reverse L shapes bent into the wire. The L joint is then used to attach each side of the nub to one of the arches. This completes the wireframe for the sample lantern. The lantern is now ready for pre-soldered NeoPixel lights to be added. For this lantern, a single light will illuminate the center of the lantern, and a second light will be added to the nub, which will give light to the detail shape. The lights are hot glued in place. When gluing the light in place in the nub, it is important to remember that because the lantern will be covered in paper, the NeoPixel wires need to be kept below the wire structure's surface. After gluing the lights in place, the lantern is ready to be papered. Each surface between the wires will be papered separately. This lantern has 6 surfaces, including both sides of the nub. Since it is hard to know how big each surface is, the process of measuring the surface is done by covering the wire outline of that shape with glue. After there is glue on all of the outline, the paper is pressed against the outline. When removed, there is an outline of glue on the paper. This shows the size of the surface. The resulting paper shape can be cut out with about 2 or 3 millimeters of extra space around the glue line. The paper should then be an almost exact fit for the surface. This can be repeated for all surfaces. Another way to apply the glue to the wireframe is to use a paintbrush rather than a finger. Note the paper only bends in one direction at a time without creating creases. So some surfaces are harder to paper than others, and it is an important consideration when making a lantern wire frame. Once the lantern is papered, it can be painted. First, prepare the supplies, including heating the wax in a crock pot. After some practice painting, the lantern is ready to be painted. Traditionally, a lantern is first painted with India ink. In these places, no light will pass through, so they will appear very dark. Next, paraffin wax is painted on the lantern. These areas will appear more translucent. The brush must be fully saturated with wax before painting it. Notice the dark gray color that appears on the lantern when the wax is painted on it. This indicates that the wax is hot enough and is saturating the paper, making it translucent. If that dark gray does not appear, it will only be a texture and a paint repellent. After the India ink and wax have been added, colored paint is added. The order of applying the paint, wax, and India ink can be changed for different effects, and not all need to be used, but this order is the traditional method. Finally, the lights are programmed to finish the lantern.